Now, we want to take you now to Pennsylvania, where state police are providing an update on the manhunt for the escaped inmate who was convicted of murder. Let's take a listen.
Thank you, Warden Holland. I'll go on with my update, and again, we'll come back to questions momentarily. Last evening, we had another sighting of Cavalcante by a resident in the area of Chandler Road, Pennsbury Township. Teams searched the area for hours, but were unable to locate him. An issue we did experience during that search illustrates some of the challenges our people are dealing with. In spite of precautions, one of our tactical search dogs suffered a heat-related and emergency and remains hospitalized today. We are hopeful that he will eventually make a full recovery. As a result of that reported sighting, residents likely observed a significant increase in police activity. We did have a reverse 911 message sent out during the incident in an effort to inform residents of the issue. Additionally, as a result of that activity, we slightly expanded the eastern edge of our perimeter to include Creek Road. The district attorney and I have continued a regular dialogue with school districts in the area, updating them with changes in our operations that might impact schools. As this operation unfolded late last night, the Unionville, Chadds Ford, and Kennett consolidated school districts made a decision to close schools. We continue to use hundreds of state, local, and federal law enforcement officers, canines, aviation assets, and various types of technology in an effort to keep the community safe and to bring this to as swift of a conclusion as possible. Excuse me. We continue to increase the number of personnel assigned as conditions dictate. Residents can expect to continue to see large numbers of law enforcement officers in their communities and traveling to and from assigned locations. We continue to ask for the public's help by familiarizing themselves with the photograph and description of Cavalcante, to check security cameras they have, and to call us immediately if they believe they may have seen Cavalcante. Again, we ask residents to please secure homes, outbuildings, and vehicles. Cavalcante has clearly already obtained some clothing and unknown other supplies, and we want to minimize any opportunity to obtain anything more. It is important that we keep pressure on him as we continue the hunt. I am also announcing that Pennsylvania Crime Stoppers has offered up to a $10,000 reward for information leading to the capture of Cavalcante. This brings the reward total to $20,000. Anyone with information is asked to call our tip line at 717-562-2987, 717-562-2987. Lastly, I want to recognize and thank the community for all of their support through this trying time in their lives. I and all of us working this manhunt understand the tremendous stress this puts on families and even businesses. In spite of that stress, and unsolicited, we have had individuals, businesses, scouting, church, and other organizations show up at our command post with cases of water, food, and well wishes for all of our people. They are very kind, and I can't thank them enough for their support. And now we will be happy to take any questions that you may have.
Lieutenant Colonel, do you think he has more ability to hide from you than you thought he did when this thing started, since it's 7 days now?
No, I don't think he has any more ability than we initially gave him credit for. I think that it's a very challenging area. I think we've had a number of these types of searches in the past. Some take hours, some take days, some take weeks, and some take months. We're committed to the search, and we will find him. We will bring him back and into the criminal justice system.
The DA or the acting warden, you guys have had access to this video. You saw this. Why did it take so long to alert the public of how he escaped?
You said it's for the warden?
DA or the acting warden?
Well, I can address that. That matter was referred to the Attorney General's office immediately. We are engaged in a thorough investigation. As I've stated before, our main focus is bringing this man into custody. We were putting all of our efforts to try to locate him. There was a simultaneous investigation into the prison escape, and today was the day that we believed we needed to bring in the acting warden to address the public about how he escaped.
But you knew ahead of time, you still didn't want to release that information to the
Is the
public.
Attorney General's investigation supplanting the Chester County District Detective's investigation?
That's correct.
How was
He
it
was an escape
possible that
risk.
this person was able to take the same escape route as someone just months previous, and really nothing was done to prevent that? Obviously, someone didn't do their job in instituting those measures.
So as I said earlier, according to the document, we did have a consulting firm come out, identify how that individual escaped, and we thought we took appropriate measures to prevent that with the razor wire. Again, the one thing we didn't take into account was a failure on the human element side. We only focused on the physical infrastructure and not necessarily the human element.
So was there nobody
did the guard fail?
was there
He just
nobody
not
in
doing
the
his
tower? Was there no one in the tower? Is that why you didn't get the call, or was he asleep?
Someone was in the tower at the time.
Should he have seen this? Should the person in the tower have seen him leave?
The position of the towers are for observation posts, which overlook the yards.
Lieutenant Colonel Bivens, sir, does he have...
Just 1 minute.
I'm hearing from state police, local law enforcement, and marshals that you guys have multiple channels. Last night I witnessed this. There was an officer from Kennett Square. There was activity. That officer didn't hear anything. He asked the trooper what's going on. They said, we're on a different channel. He was left in the dark, and I'm hearing now from, it was at least 12 officers in the past 6 days that told me they are not able to communicate in concert with you guys. Are there multiple channels that you guys are operating?
No, I would have to look into that specific concern, and I'd be happy to do that. Maybe we can talk afterward, and you can supply me a name that we can look into it. What I would tell you is that we've spent a lot of time and effort making sure that we do have solid communications. We've got a lot of agencies working there. Most have representation in our command post, and we would know immediately if we had a communication issue. So if there is something that's isolated to a certain agency or something, we'd certainly want to take a look at that. But that's not a widespread concern.
Has he obtained a weapon, and if so, what kind of weapon do you think he has?
We have not determined that he has obtained a weapon.
When was the consultant brought in, and what was the name of the consultant again?
So I don't have the exact date nor name of the consulting firm.
Why?
I can get that for you. Because
Lieutenant Colonel Bivens, is any infrared or heat-seeking device used to track them at least at night?
There are a number of types of technology. I think it's certainly reasonable to believe something like that would be included in the array of technology that we would bring to bear.
Hold on. In the Igor Bowl case, the inmates were distracting the guard. There was a fight on the basketball court, is what the criminal complaint says. In this case, too, we had heard that there was also some sort of group of inmates or a line of inmates on that yard. Is that obstructing, or is it just that the inmates also figured out how to do this as well? So what is being taken to address that concern that you have an inmate standing there in that video? Is that guy a lookout? Are they all talking about how to do this? What are you doing there on the human side with the inmates to make sure nobody tries this again?
So as I said, for the investigation of how or why this occurred, including the investigation and questioning of the inmates that were there, that's done by the Attorney General's office, so I don't have the exact answer. Moreover, as we develop information into this, we are certainly going to look at what the actions of that tower officer were, why he did observe what was occurring in that yard. I'm not sure as to how or why. He didn't address it at this point.
Why not share that video early on if you knew how he escaped? That's the question that everyone had.
Again, as part of the investigation.
Can you step up a little bit?
Certainly. I'm sorry. As part of the investigation, that would have been up to the Attorney General's office to release that, and when it was to be released. At this point, we thought it was prudent and had permission to release it.
Is the tower officer still in duty, or is he suspended? Is he still working?
He is on administrative leave.
This is for the district attorney.
Wow, a real challenging moment there as we listen to Pennsylvania State Police, and we understand a warden from the Chester County Prison as they update us on the still ongoing manhunt for the convicted murderer who escaped from a prison there a full week ago now. There have been multiple reports of people spotting Danelo Cavalcante in the Chester County area, and they just shared video of him escaping the prison, literally walking up the wall backwards, Michael, which apparently was a similar method used just a few months ago by another inmate at the prison. They say they don't know the name of the consultancy firm or the people they called in to help fix the problem, but obviously there's an ongoing issue there.
Yeah, pretty big gap in the system if that happened, and there's going to be some more questions about that. We also learned that He was reportedly spotted last night in Pennsbury Township. They couldn't confirm that sighting. They also say Cavalcante has procured clothing and supplies. They say they're going to keep the pressure on, and there is a reward for his capture, now up to $20,000.